Terms for session number 2, mitzvot 2, Jewish texts and Christianity. Hebrew, that is the language of the Bible and the Mishnah, the ancient language of the Jewish people, and seems like the language of God. Tanakh, that's the name for the Hebrew Bible, the acronym. The T sound, the Tav stands for Torah. The Nun stands for Nevi'im, prophets, the middle part of the Bible, from Joshua, Judges, Samuel 1 and 2, and Kings 1 and 2, and then the 15 literary prophets. And the Ch stands for Ketuvim, the writings, all the rest of the books. Torah, that's the 5 books of Moses in its narrowest sense. Genesis, Bereshit, Exodus, Shemot, Leviticus, Vayikra, Numbers, Bamidbar, and Deuteronomy, Devarim. Nevi'im, the words for the middle part of the Tanakh, the prophets. Again, from Joshua, Judges, Samuel 1 and 2, and Kings 1 and 2, and the 15 prophets. Divided into 2 categories. The big 3, which are Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and then the smaller 12. Not in significance, just in size. Ketuvim, those are the rest of the books of the Hebrew Bible. The 5 scrolls, like Song of Songs, Ruth, the Ecclesiastes, Lamentations, Book of Psalms, Proverbs, Chronicles 1 and 2, Ezra, Nehemiah, those wonderful books of the Esther, the Hebrew Bible. Chumash, that is the word that we use for the Torah that we hand out in the synagogue, the Bible volume. It's called Chumash because the Hebrew word for 5 is chamesh, and so it contains the 5 books of the Torah plus commentary plus the prophetic portions that we read. The Talmud is the codification of the oral law. It consists of 2 parts, the Mishnah, which is the next term on our list, which was written down in the year 220, oral before that, and then the Gemara, which is the rest of it. And it was compiled in Babylonia and in Jerusalem, in Palestine. Drasha is a sermon based on the Torah portion. Torah shebichtav, the written Torah, that would be the 5 books of Moses. Torah sheba'al peh, Torah that's oral. Now it's actually written, and that's the Talmud. Ezra the scribe, there's a book of the Bible based on Ezra in the sections of writings, who came back and talked to the Jewish community when they were rebuilding the temple in the 6th century BCE. Torah miturgaman, that would be somebody who's explaining the Torah. Today in the Yemenite community, they'd read a Torah verse, and they'd have it in Aramaic in ancient times too, explained. Talmud Torah is the study of Torah. There's a rabbinic source that said it's the most important commandment of all because it leads to all the others. Rodef Shalom. Rodef is pursue, Shalom is peace. The commandment to always pursue Shalom. Gaon, the name of the giant, great, brilliant rabbis of the Babylonian period, like Saja Gaon and Rav Amram Gaon. And today a very, very distinguished rabbi might be called a Gaon, but it was a technical term for the Babylonian rabbis. The Rambam is Maimonides, 1135 to 1204, the author of Guide for the Perplexed and the Mishnah Torah, the first major code of Jewish law. Rashi, this brilliant French exegete who commented on the whole Torah, the Hebrew Bible, the Talmud. Codes, those would be the codes of Jewish law, like Maimonides' Mishnah Torah, like the Shulchan Aruch, any subsequent code that codifies Jewish halacha law. And finally, Midrash, that would be a rabbinic story or a modern story about the Bible that's not actually in the Bible but fills in some blanks, like the ancient legends about Abraham's father being an idol worker, and Abraham smashed his father's idols because he understood about monotheism. It's not in the Bible. That is a midrash. So those are the terms for session 2 of our course.